how's it going, Diablo fans? This is my early draft of the Frozen Orb Conjuration build. I have been managing to get level 110 Pits with like very sub-optimized gear and very sub-optimized tempering and everything. So far it works great. Because this is a very, very early guide, I will not really make any details. Basically, you just spam your Q button where you have your Frozen Orb on and just keep moving, spawning Conjurations, getting the damage from the Conjuration Mastery, and that's pretty much all about this build. One thing to say is, if you get into higher level tiers, you struggle with survivability against bosses, so there will probably be something with Flame Shield duration and cooldown reduction, so we can kind of get into like a almost permanent Flame Shield mode, which will probably be salvation for everything here. But yeah, just want to put this out real quick. There's a temporary planner in the description down below. Just pay attention to the items and stats what I say in the video, which is most likely going to be accurate because you're not going to having the gear, and either I do not have the gear which I put in the planner. This is all like pretty much built on assumption at this point. And at the end I have like a full pit level 106 plus or something like that without actually dying to a boss. So again, make sure to catch me live tonight when I keep pushing this. I can probably get into like level 150 or something like that. We will see. Anyway, I just want to put this guide out real quick so you can already build on it. If you're happy enough to have the amulet already, you can pretty much follow my guide. You can follow me on stream as I will keep advancing this build. I will probably play this build until tomorrow, and then I'm going to advance to other builds there. So that's it for the short introduction. So without further ado, let's go into the skill tree. For the skills, we put 2 points into Firebolt for the Firebolt enchantment, and then we put 1 point into Frozen Orb, into Enhanced Frozen Orb, into Destructive Frozen Orb. You don't really need Greater Frozen Orb. Lightning Spear is going to make everything vulnerable no matter what, so you might as well opt for the mana regeneration here. Then 1 point into Devastation, 1 point into Elemental Dominance, just to advance to the next tier here. Then we put 1 into Flame Shield, 1 into Teleport, 1 into Ice Armor, into Enhanced Ice Armor, and into Shimmering Ice Armor. This gives us 100% uptime on Ice Armor, which gives us a nice little barrier all the time. And then we put 1 point into Frost Nova. Quick note about this, if you're running lower levels, like I started switching to Frost Nova at like tier 100 pit because it helps me staggering those bosses faster. If you're running lower tiers, you don't really have issues with the bosses at all. You don't need Frost Nova. You want to go for Frozen Orb enchantment. That's just why I have 1 point into Frost Nova here at this point. Then 3 into Glass Cannon, 1 into Elemental Attunement, pretty basic stuff here. 1 into Hydra and 1 into Enhanced Hydra. Honestly, the Enhanced Hydra you probably don't even need. You can probably take this point out and distribute it somewhere else. Then 3 into Precision Magic, 1 into Align the Elements, 3 into Mana Shield, 3 into Protection. We all need these defensives here. Then Ice Blades into Enhanced Ice Blades and Summoned Ice Blades, as well as Lightning Spear into Enhanced Lightning Spear and Invoked Lightning Spear. Then we max out Conjuration Mastery. We have another +3 from our amulet. Then we put 1 point into Inner Flames and 1 point into 3 points into Devouring Blaze here, because we play Burning. This is still the strongest modifier we can get here. And then we put 3 into Permafrost, 3 into Hoarfrost, 3 into Icy Touch. Again, we skill Frozen Orb damage here, so these damage multipliers are better. There is probably a variant where you skill Conjuration damage, which might be better than this, but I didn't explore that yet. Then 1 into Unstable Currents, 1 into Prime Unstable Currents. I just used this for the extra attack speed because I really don't need any other skill slots in this build. If you're still running lower tiers, you can also put Ice Blades on your bar, for example. This also is more for high-end bosses. And then 1 into Avalanche. Right now I use Avalanche to fix my mana, and it gives a little bit of extra damage. I don't really need Shatter since the trash mobs are dying fast enough, so this is probably the best passive you can get. First of all, it fixes your mana completely, and second of all, it gives you nice bonus damage in those boss fights. For the skills, you want to put Frozen Orb on a key which you can actually spam, so don't put it on right mouse button, because if you have to hold left mouse button to move and click right mouse button to Frozen Orb, it's not going to be great. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to spam Q all the time, and while that you're basically moving, right? Then we use Unstable Currents here. I just really use it for the 25% extra attack speed buff because I don't really need anything else in this slot. You can use Ice Blades or Lightning Spear here, but I feel like I don't really even need to cast those Conjurations at this point, so I'm not doing it. Then teleport, also like pretty weak. The cooldown is like way too big right now, so I hope this gets down a little bit when I get better gear, but so far I cannot really use a whole lot of teleport there. Then we have Flame Shield. We need way more levels in Flame Shield to sustain bosses, because the high level bosses are basically going to one-shot you with every single mechanic. So we really want to have more levels in Flame Shield, but right now it doesn't really matter for me to put like the extra 4 points. I guess you gotta fix this with gear and Flame Shield levels somehow. We will find out at a later point. Again, this guide is still a pretty early version. Then we put Hydra on our bar, just cast it. It's extra Conjuration damage and extra lucky hit, extra procs, everything. So again, we don't need the skill slots for everything else. And then we have Ice Armor, which gives us a good amount of barrier. And it is important actually to keep barrier up all the time. And since we can permanently cast Ice Armor, this is a good skill. Then for enchantments, Firebolt enchantment is still mandatory. I tried Hydra with Burning. It didn't really like work so great. I didn't really like it. And then again, for Frost Nova enchantment, I use it like since I have been hitting like level 100 or 105 or something like that, because it staggers the bosses significantly faster. If you're still running lower level, definitely use Frozen Orb enchantment here, right? Frost Nova just for high level pit bosses. For legendary aspects and stats, I'm gonna put a link of a temporary planner in the description down below, but this is absolutely not final. Please, I'm 100% sure there's gonna be way better variants for this. I just don't have the aspects yet. I did my first round of tempering and I didn't really look at the attributes. I just maxed everything for now. So this is definitely absolutely unoptimized. This is what I'm playing right now, which can get me like above level 110 without any problems, but there's definitely improvements to make. So let's get started. So first of all, I'm using a Starfall Coronet helmet here. This is just because it has lucky hit chance and cooldown reduction, really, because I want to play lucky hit, and this is the best helmet with lucky hit I could find. You can definitely also just choose a regular helmet with lucky hit chance while having a barrier and main stat and cooldown reduction. That's probably going to be even better, but I just don't have access to that right now, so I'm using this. For a chest piece, we want to have main stat, maximum life, and probably some defensive stat like armor. Mana per second really is like complete garbage. It's not useful at all. And for the tempering affixes, you want to focus on flame shield duration. That is, again, the only one I have access to. So there's probably way better ones. So I'm just going to talk about the tempered affixes I have. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be better ones, right? Freeze duration is nice, but it's not going to do a whole lot, though. Then we play Juggernaut's aspect here. We want to hit like a fairly high armor cap, and we have like 17k, so not optimal, but it's pretty good, I guess. You might want to play Disobedience later. I don't even know at this point, honestly, because we might have to just fix defenses with permanent flame shield, as I already said. But there's probably way better stats you can get on here. Again, I will make optimizations in the planner just based off what I think is going to be best. But if it's going to be best, I have no clue at this point. I have to figure this out. Then for our gloves, we want to have attack speed, crit strike, frozen orb ranks, and I have damage to crowd controlled and freeze duration on here. Again, this is just what I have access on for, and I have storm swell aspect here for the nice little damage bonus here. Then for our pants, I have Undying here. Also, Undying is probably not the best aspect, but I like it that I have significant amount of life regeneration. I have Intelligence, I have Maximum Life, and I have Armor on here. This is probably also alright stats. Then for my Tempering, I have Lucky Hit to heal. I think this is completely useless, but you know, this is what I have right now. And Frost Nova Size as well is just completely useless. So all these Tempering here do not really do anything. You probably want to have better defensive Temperings than the ones I have on here. Probably, for example, this Flame Shield duration here is probably a way better affix to get. So again, I will make some notes in the planner what tempering affix you want to get best. Then for our boots, you probably want to have Asus boots. Honestly, I don't have them, so I just have boots within movement speed, and even more movement speed. And I put the aspect of fortune on here for more lucky hit chance. For a wand, I want to have intelligence. I don't want to have maximum life, ideally, and I don't want to have restore primary resource. You probably want to have intelligence, attack speed, crit, or something like that. And then for tempering, again, I have damage to crowd control, which doesn't help me anything against bosses, which is pretty bad. But you know, it is what I have. And then I have percent chance to cast frozen orb projectiles twice. So this is really your affix you want to get. So if you like high-end tempering, you want to like temper this and you want to advance these, the more frozen orbs you cast, the more damage you're going to do. And I'm going to use Conceited Aspect here for even more damage. For focus, I want to use intelligence and lucky hit chance and crit chance ideally, so the maximum life roll you probably don't want to have here. And then again, chance to frozen orb and a damage stat, which is most likely not crowd controlled, because crowd controlled again doesn't help against bosses. And then we put the accelerating aspect on here for like extra attack speed. Then for our first ring, you probably want to have Tal Rasha ring, right? I just don't have it yet. So I have intelligence, attack speed, lucky hit chance. The ranks to Frigid Breeze don't really work. I don't even know what you can get on this ring, so I guess you want to have damage, and you know, you can have resource cost reduction or something like that. We really have to say what other resource aspects available are there. Again, this is something for the super late game. It doesn't really matter at this point so much. You just want to have the damage roll, obviously. Then for a second ring, probably same story actually. You want to have intelligence, attack speed, and crit. So this one has a damage to close and resurrect resource cost reduction. Again, the temperings on these do not really matter so much. And I play the aspect of frozen memories here. I'm just using this right now to fix my mana, and it's really helping me. For the second ring, again, you want to have crit chance, lucky hit chance, and attack speed, or intelligence, lucky hit chance, crit chance, somewhere around that. Again, damage stat for the tempering, as long as we don't have anything better available here. But that's pretty much it. You can also obviously choose a unique ring if you already have one. Like, probably X-Falls will do nice in this build. Again, Tal Rasha ring if you have it. I don't have it yet. I will have to farm it, I guess. I don't know which slot it goes, but I will put like an optimized version in the planner, and I will also keep that updated. And then last but not least, the heart of our build is the Fractured Winterglass. Again here, for the tempering, I actually hit one of the Conjuration Mastery attributes. I don't think it worked. I mean, it at least doesn't show, and there was a note that there was a bug there. And besides that, I hit pretty terrible attributes here. So you probably want to have high cooldown reduction on this, really. And you want to have a high 50% chance roll to cast Frozen Orb, and also the other lucky hit, obviously, is good if you have a higher roll. But you know what? I'm happy enough I have this item. It's not perfect, I know that, but it's good enough now. For Paragon, this is a pretty basic offensive board here. We just pick a little bit of more maximum life, and we definitely want to transition into more life later, because the damage in the Paragon board is significantly weaker than the damage we get on items now. So you really want to get more kind of defenses of the Paragon board. Maybe you even want to get into like the burning damage reductions from this board here. We have to figure that out once we get to like the level 150, stuff like that, right? For now, we can just run pure damage. So basically, we just play Winter as first glyph. This just gives us a very good damage multiplicator, except for versus bosses here. Then we move over to the next board. That is going to be Enchantment Master. And we put in the Elementalist glyph here for like extra damage again. Then we just pick some little of the non-fizz damage here. And again, these maximum life nodes. Then we move over to the next board, Burning Instinct. This is important. We play Tactician here, which boosts our damage reduction from burning. So this board gives us a very high damage reduction. And we pick up also this damage reduction nodes here. Again, it might be worse to like, you know, somehow get these damage reduction nodes as well. But I'm not too sure about this for now. I don't even know if damage reduction is going to scale into endgame. But if damage reduction is going to scale into endgame, we're also going to hit probably more damage reduction against vulnerable here. Then again, next board, Frigid Fate. We pick the Frigid Fate node, and we just put in our exploit glyph here for the multiplicative damage here. Then moving over to the next board, that's going to be Elemental Summoner. We don't really pick the Elemental Summoner node. It doesn't really matter. Like, the Conjuration damage is not so much. We scale mainly Frozen Orb damage at this point. There might be a better variant of this build with scaling Conjuration damage, and I will definitely try this out in the near future. But for now, I'm just scaling Frozen Orb damage here. And then we just put in our Conjurer glyph here, so the Conjurations last longer, so our Conjuration Mastery stacks will be up longer. And let's move over to the next board. That's Searing Heat. We just picked the glyph slot here with Control Glyph and 34 Dexterity. You can probably change this to the what it's called, Flame Feeder. I probably actually will do this right now, because Flame Feeder is going to be better against bosses here, definitely. And really, it's just about boss damage at the higher levels. So on the lower levels, you might still want to use Control, but on the higher levels, I definitely recommend using Flame Feeder here. And then moving over to the next board, that is going to be the Ceaseless Conduit. Again, we just picked the Glyph socket here, Destruction Glyph with 44 Dexterity. And last board is going to be the Icefall. We just picked the Icefall node here for the extra 15% damage or the 30% damage to Frozen here.